And what people didn't know is they thought, oh, she's so short, Mikaela's going to outbox her. She had a longer reach than me. She had a 4-inch reach advantage on me, and she's 5'4".
Hi everyone, I'm Sasha from Women's Fight News, and today I'm joined by WBO Super Featherweight World Champion Mikaela Mayer. Mikaela, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for having
Good.
me.
No, thanks for giving up your time. I know you've just come back from vacation, so how was that to just get away and relax?
It was good. It's always nice when your fight lines up like a week or two before your birthday, because then you can sort of plan to enjoy your time off from fighting and also the birthday weekend. So went to Mexico, had my fun, and now I'm back in Colorado and staying ready, getting ready for my fight date.
Yes, amazing. Well, I'm glad you had a nice time.
Thank you.
So obviously you've not long just come out the ring and you had an unbelievable fight. Have you had time to like sit and reflect on your performance?
A little bit, yeah. Recently, yes, I have. It's so funny because like a week after the fight, I'm like, oh my God, I really gotta like, there's so much that goes on after a fight, because and any fighter will tell you, you put so much on the back burner when you're in training camp. I mean, I put my mail, I don't even open my mail. I don't, I'm not keeping up on day-to-day life, which I'm usually really good at. And because I'm so focused on training camp and I'm tired and I'm zoned in. And so there's like this period after my fight where I'm just playing catch up on everything. And I had to like be like, okay, Mikaela, sit down, watch the fight, get on the phone with Coach Al. But anyone who knows who Coach Al is, like, he's already calling maybe 100 times to go over what we did wrong, what we can do better, and what we're going to work on when I get up there next.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dedicated as well. But it was such a great performance as well. And I think people underestimated your opponent a little bit, as if you would go in and just like, destroy her straight away. But she's actually a very durable opponent.
I think that's just a part of like where women's boxing is right now. A lot of people who are catching on to women's boxing are fight fans and maybe like the top names right now and are fans of the top girls whose names are everywhere. But, Erica Farias has a lot of experience. She's been pro for years. While I was, training for the Olympics, she's out here defending her world title. So people definitely underestimated her. We didn't. We never do. Coach Al never allows me to do that. So we knew going in that she was going to come hard, like with that opportunity and, at your feet, like you have to be able to step up to the occasion, and she had the experience to do that. And what people didn't know is they thought, oh, she's so short, Mikaela's going to outbox her. She had a longer reach than me. She had a 4-inch reach advantage on me, and she's 5'4".
I remember seeing that when I watched the fight and I was like, that's not right. So I Googled it. I was convinced. Yeah. I was like, that is not right. I can't have it.
Wait, no, the worst thing is I didn't even know that until going into the fight meeting the day before, and they're like, so she has a 4-inch reach advantage on you, and I'm like,
did that make you change tactics at all, knowing that she had a slight reach advantage?
No, but it did make me aware of the fact that me being tall wasn't going to be good enough, right? Like, so, and I've fought girls like this before who are really short and you think you're out of range, but because they have like ropes for arms, they actually are able to hit you, but you think you're out of range. It's really deceiving. So because I've had experience with that before, I just sort of put that in my head and didn't really take her shortness as like, oh, she's at a disadvantage. So I just knew that we were gonna have to let our hands go and gonna have to keep it tight defense. And she did land some shots. She did come through with some shots.
Yeah, but so did you as well. Like you rocked her a few times as well. Did you at any point think that you might get a stoppage, or was you just focused on sticking to your game plan?
No, there was a few times between rounds like 7 and 10 where I knew that she was weakening, like she was going. And that's one of my arguments right now for just wanting an extra minute in the round, because this isn't the first time where I feel like I could have ended the fight if I would have been given a little bit more time. And that's not for everybody. Maybe some people are stronger in the beginning of the fight and they just have that quick knockout power. But my style is more, I like to walk my opponents down, break them down, tire them down, and I sort of come on strong at the end. That's just my style, and that's how I fight. And so I do believe I would have had more time, that she was really weakening and my shots were getting in clean. My hands were throbbing at the end of that. In the middle of the fight, my hands were throbbing. I've never had that before. So I knew I was cracking her with some strong shots, but that's just part of where experience and her toughness comes in. Like Coach Al said, well, you should have gone to the body then. Some people, he didn't think I went to the body now. Some people know how to take shots. They just can take shots.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, she was a super tough opponent. So, you know, even though she went the distance, like I say, you rocked her a lot of times. And I think against a lot of other girls, I don't think they would have still been standing by the end of it.
I agree with that. And it's funny because everyone has so much to say, but if you put a lot of the top girls at the top ranked girls in my division against her, or even someone like Ewa Brodnicka, who is not necessarily super tough, but her style is awkward and annoying, and you have to train for that. You have to train for someone who's constantly on their bike and then constantly holds, constantly on their bike and constantly holds. So I would be really curious to see one of these top girls in my division go up against someone like Farias or Brodnicka. I don't think it's in the bag, but that's what we're good at, adjusting to game plans, adjusting to
Yeah,
different styles.
yeah. And you announced on Twitter a couple of weeks ago that you have another fight lined up. So is that still the case?
Yeah, I knew about. Everyone was saying that, because we wanted to unify with Hamadouche right away, and I made that clear. Where I won the title against Brodnicka. And when it didn't happen, I got some heat from it, like, oh, Mikaela's scared, Mikaela doesn't want the fight, blah blah blah. But that was never the case. I can only do so much. The promoters were in negotiation, and look, can we just make this clear? I was saying the reason the fight wasn't going to happen with Hamadouche next is because she had to train for the Olympics, and she was going to the Olympics, and that was her goal. And so she couldn't fight at this time. She had to go to Tokyo. And everyone thought that was a lie. She came on Twitter saying that that's not true. I'll take the fight. But that was all bullshit, because look where she is right now. She's in Tokyo, like I said. And when is the fight happening? Olympics in October. So it's exactly what we thought it was. At the end of the day, it just took a little bit longer for the promoters to get the fight done because of that. Like, what else could it have been? She's in Tokyo. She's going to the Olympics. She can't fight right now. So we made it happen for October, November. No date yet, but it's definitely done. The deal is done.
Yeah, amazing. And obviously, like, you've had an amazing amateur career. You've been to the Olympics. What's your opinion on professionals going to the Olympics?
It's weird to me. I mean, I understand, because we're one of the last sports that still keeps amateur and pro separate. But I don't think that you should be able to hold on to your world title if you want to go back to compete in the amateurs, because look, she's putting this 130 is the most stacked and competitive division in women's boxing right now, and we want a unified champion. We all do, and she's putting it on hold because she wanted to go compete in the Olympics. And I think that should be a choice. You have to choose one or the other. But whatever, it is what it is. America can't do that. Our bylaws won't allow us to compete, amateurs to compete with pros, so we don't allow pros back onto our team. Other countries, it is what it is. I don't think it's helpful. It's a totally different style to me. Completely different.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, like, a few of them have done it, haven't they? And like, Pursuant went and she didn't qualify, and I do find it super strange. I know there's a system of doing it, and like your system of, you go amateurs, Olympics, and then you turn over, and like you say, it's like two different sports really. So it's quite a strange way to, like you say, hold a world title belt and then go to the amateurs.
Maybe these girls, because what's her name, Hammer, went out with the Olympics also, and so these girls have been pro for so long, and they feel like they've missed out on the Olympic scene because they turned pro before they announced the Olympics or were willing to chase that dream. And so they want to go back and try and capture that for, whatever personal reason. But at this stage, in my mind, when you're competing in the most competitive division, while women's boxing is on this roller coaster and taking off bigger than it ever has before, you don't abandon your division and try and go chase this Olympic dream. Not something I would do. I don't care if they offered me, I wouldn't do it. So, but I mean, to each their own. I don't think it's going to help her training for a 10-round world title fight against me.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's it. And like you say, your division is the hottest division, not even just women's boxing. I think in boxing in general, it has got the biggest matchups, I think, that can be made. And obviously the World Boxing Super Series announced that they've picked that division for the next tournament. So what's your view on that?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything. I don't think the other champs have either, or I don't really know, but I assume they'll be reaching out. I mean, they have to, right? Like, you need to get the top girls in this division on that show, or it's really not going to be everything it's supposed to be. So we'll see. I would love to do it. I would love to be in a tournament like that. I'm good at tournament style fights. I did it for years, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'd love to see it more in boxing, the tournament styles, because I think it would force more of these big matchups. I think there's too much cherry picking at the minute with fights. So I think this would force the best men and women in the ring together.
And there's incentive there, because not only do you get an opportunity for the belts and or an opportunity to unify in my case, but the fights are being done like quickly, like you said, and there's money incentive there. You know, I looked at what they paid the men, and I don't think they're going to pay the women that, and I think their reasoning, like, I was going to say between you and me, but this is a live interview, so it's not.
You can tell me later though.
Like, we should be pushing for more rounds, is because I just feel like they're going to come to us saying, well, you're not going to get what the men get because you don't go 12 3-minute rounds. So, but so if they give us a quarter of what those men got on that last Super Series, that's huge incentive for anyone in this division to want to be in that tournament, aside from the belts that you're able to try.
Yeah. Do you think the rounds is one of the biggest reasons why pay is so much less for women than men?
No, I think it's originally promoters just want to give us less because they feel we haven't been in the sport long enough. We're not as experienced. We're not as good. We're not as big of a sell. They want to say that about us women. But now that I'm in the position that I'm in, where I'm fighting on ESPN, I'm a world champion, they're putting me on big cards as a co-main event. Obviously, they see my potential. They see that I'm a sell, I'm a draw, right?
Yeah.
So I think the next big thing, in order to avoid any argument with promoters and networks and female fighters, is the next thing they're going to say, well, you don't go 12 3-minute rounds, you don't fight as long, you don't do as much, so we're not going to pay you what the men pay you. So now I'm trying to jump ahead of the game and let's just get on that 12 3-minute round plan so that we don't have that argument. And when we go to step up and try to get more money and say, hey, look, then we have a valid argument, we don't have any room for disagreements or so. I'm just ready to jump ahead of that and see what we can do to take that next step in the growth of women's boxing. And if I don't benefit from it, fine, but might as well try.
Yeah. And like you say, someone else might, even if it takes a few years, and then eventually like the next generation coming up, they could then benefit from it as well.
Not going to immediately, every female out there is going to get a pay grade because we go more, but someone in my position who kind of has the promoter in the platform, my manager has like more of a pull to sort of sit with the promoter and the network and be like, this isn't, we're not talking about broad, but this is a step in the right direction. Mikaela, I feel like I would deserve it. I would deserve a pay grade. I feel like I have the right, I have the argument to be able to.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Like ESPN have just put you in like the pound for pound top 5. And I think, and you know, you're an Olympian, you're now a world champion. You know, and there's a potential fight for you, not really in the too far future, of becoming undisputed in your division as well. So you've got to know your worth, haven't you?
Yeah, and I think we're exciting too, you know. Say what you want, but I think that we have an exciting 4 in the top 4 in my division, and we have big fights to be made, and not just here in America, but over in the UK. And we're doing a good job at building these fights and building a rivalry, which I think is another thing women's boxing really needs. You need rivalries. You need the fans to latch onto to 2 fighters, and you know, they want to see someone win, they want to see someone lose. It's part of the factor, and I think that the 130-pound division is doing that.
Yeah. So like you and Harper, for instance, you've built up a little rivalry, I think. And I think when that fight happens, that is going to be one of the biggest fights in women's boxing. It's going to be huge. Yeah,
it's going to be good. And, you know, she's injured right now, so it's kind of a little setback. I'm glad we got the fight done with Hamadouche so we can continue the unification process. And when she gets out, I know that Eddie reserved Hayami Choi for her. So they can go ahead and get that done, and hopefully me and Harper will meet, assuming that's the outcome of each fight, which I plan it to be. But I don't necessarily think that Choi is going to be a walkover. We know Hamadouche is going to be a walkover. She's going to come hard. She's going to come fast, but that's what she's going to do. We know what she's going to do. She's going to come hard, and we can train for that. I think it's an easy style to train for, and we've competed against that style in the past, so we know what to do. But she's going to come hard and try and make it rough for me, and I think that Choi is going to make it rough for Harper too. You know, I think that's going to be a good matchup, and it's going to be exciting. And that's another aspect as to why we're such an exciting weight class and division right now is because we all have sort of these different styles and different skills that we bring to the table.
Yeah, exactly. Like styles make fights, don't they? And I think that is what's exciting. And neither fight, like you say, is going to be a walkover. So the whole build-up is going to be entertaining and exciting to watch. And like you say, hopefully, you get the win, Harper gets the win for this huge, like potential undisputed clash.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. You were talking about like money and stuff like that before, and I'd seen on Twitter, everyone was asking you whether you're going to be part of this new boxing game. Mm-hmm. And when I was reading your tweets, I could not believe like what you were offered. Like what's going on there?
I never had, even before I was making money and sort of like settled into my career, I never took things without like pay. I never gave away my life free. My manager always taught me to hold out, know your worth, and people will come along. If you have to say no and you don't get free shit in the process, then you don't get free shit, but you hold out and you know your worth. And we looked at the terms of this contract, and it was just not something that our standards and our morals like didn't align with the things in that contract. And we turned it down. People can say that that's stupid, you should be doing it just for the exposure, but I've never done things just for the exposure. Like this is my brand, and I take pride in each company that I represent and work with, and I'm going to continue to.
Yeah, because it's the principle of it, I believe, as well. Like, and I understand what people say about the exposure, but is it really going to give you that much exposure a game? Not for what you can do in the ring, really, is it? So it doesn't make sense to sell yourself short.
Yeah, and I think that the deals they were offering the men were just, they literally told us that the men's contract were negotiable and the women's are not. This is what you get. You sign, leave it, take it or leave it. And so, well, okay, have a good day.
Yeah, leave it. Do you ever get because I get the feeling with boxing, like women's boxing has come very far, and I think sometimes we can be at a standstill where we appreciate how far it's come, and then not a lot happens after that. Where it's like sometimes so for that offer, it's a bit like, well, you should just be grateful you're being offered it, take the exposure, and then that's it.
Right. That's what they were saying to me, but I just don't do things like that. And right now I'm comfortable with my career and where I am, and the exposure I'm getting and the money I'm making. And so I don't need to do things simply for exposure. I don't need to partner with companies who don't align with what I believe in just because I'm a female and I should take anything I can get. I'm in a position. And even when I was in that position to be taking a little for taking things to help build my career and exposure, I didn't do things if I didn't get anything in return.
Yeah.
Like this is
no one would.
Yeah.
No one would do it in like a regular day-to-day job and things like that. So why should you do it because you're a female athlete? It makes no sense.
Yeah. And then, it wasn't just about the money. There's other things in the contract that just didn't make any sense, and you basically give them complete control of your likeness, and we weren't going to do that. And so it's okay. It is what it is. They come back and they want to give us a chance to negotiate like any other company would allow, or what they're allowing the men to do, and maybe some of their favorite females, then fine. But it needs to be across the board. They can't choosing who they want to I don't know, give negotiation.
Yeah, definitely.
Give an equal contract.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it has to be consistent for everyone, doesn't it? Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, right.
So obviously you've got the Hamadouche fight, hopefully October, November. Obviously, I'm presuming that your goal will be to become undisputed in super featherweight. Do you have any goals then, or thoughts of moving up or down a weight division once you've achieved that?
Oh yeah, not down. Definitely not down. I've been 130 so that I can go undisputed, and I'm still able to make the weight, but I don't think I'm a natural 130. I think I'm going to feel a lot more comfortable at 135, and I have the height to do so, and I plan on moving up. Yeah, I plan on moving up after we can get these unification fights done. There's a lot of good fights to me at 35. There's some fights to me at 140, and I'm able to go up, definitely, sooner than later, if we can get these fights done, people.
Yeah, exactly, definitely. So when are you going to start your training camp down for your upcoming fight?
Well, I'm maintaining right now. I'm running in the gym a couple times a week and just mostly working on my strength training and, staying in shape with the runs. And I'm looking at going up to Michigan to start camp with Coach Al at the end of August. So we'll do like 6. Usually it always depends. As soon as we get the fight day, we can really like narrow it down. But Coach Alloway likes me to go up to Michigan early so that we're not just worried about getting in shape and making weight at this point. We're really just practicing strategy, working on things that we should have done better at the last fight, and just kind of getting better and better and better. You know, Coach Al, I believe, is like one of the last great boxing teachers around, and he likes to spend time just really working slow in the gym and working on technique and strategy. He doesn't like just rush in and conditioning me. That's not what he's always been about. So I'll head up there a little bit early just to focus on that.
Yeah. And last question, what do you believe that you bring that's better than what Hamadouche will bring in that ring? What makes you know that you're going to beat her and hold them titles?
I can do more. I can do more than what Hamadouche can do. She does one thing really well. She's going to be there to get hit. We've studied her. We know the combinations she's like to throw, and she's not very diverse. Whereas I feel like I can fight in different areas of the ring. I can box and move. I can sit in the middle with you. I have a good jab. I can put my combos together. And so I do a little bit of everything, whereas she does one thing. And so not to say that somebody who always does one thing really well doesn't ever win or perform or come out on top. But in this case, because of my training, because of the way we study our opponent and come up with strategy, I just think that she's going to get frustrated. And when the one thing that she does well doesn't work anymore, that's when she's going to sort of start to die, and then I'll come on strong.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Mikaela, thank you so much for your time. And I wish you all the best in your training camp. Wish you the best for your Hamadouche fight as well.
Thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ready for new content dropping all the time. Also, give Women's Fight News a follow on Twitter and on Instagram.